Hello, I'm Dynast Amir.
The views.
Corruption do so.
The Views comes up every weekday on the Freetown Television Network and at 12 p.m. Several pertinent issues could be discussed by professional heads, policymakers, plus the assessments of members of the public. Tune in every day, Monday to Friday, as we discuss politics, governance, business, and all other pressing issues. The Views. The Views.
Corruption do so.
The Views comes up every weekday on the Freetown Television Network and at 12 p.m. Several pertinent issues could be discussed by professional heads, policymakers, plus the assessments of members of the public. Tune in every day, Monday to Friday, as we discuss politics, governance, business, and all other pressing issues. The Views.
From the Freetown Television Network, channel 35, and also on the radio Freetown 90.5 FM. It is the second edition for the week, and me bringing to you this edition, which is my name. With me today, I do have a young man from the United States. He's an African American by the name of Dynast.
An African who is displaced in America.
Whatever. Then when you come inside, you're gonna find that it's actually.
and I'm Nigerian.
Okay, so I'll come to talk about all that when we start this particular session of the views. So first, I'm gonna welcome my guest into the program. Good afternoon, Dynast.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. Thank you.
So before we're gonna start about what we are actually trying to. I'll say control me with
yes.
you. I want to start by I want you to explain yourself to people, okay. For people to understand who is actually Dynast.
Okay. Greetings everyone. I am Dynast Amir, Oma Oba of Oruro, Nigeria. Born and raised Sacramento, California. But my roots are in Nigeria and here in Sierra Leone. I am Yoruba. And I'm also Mende. When I say that I am an African who is displaced in America, what I mean is we didn't choose to come to America. It was against our own free will. So that's why, being, I guess, an African American or part of the African diaspora, our descendants of enslaved Africans, we're very unique, so our situation is a little bit different. So like I said, I'm Nigerian, I'm Sierra Leonean, so that's why, it's a little more complicated than just being an African American or black guy from America. So I just wanted to put that out there, that's all.
Well, if I could start with that one, why do you first of all tell clear the air about this one, because we have people back there who are proud to say that
right.
We're here you're trying to control that and say even that's like a misplace of
well, I think I grew up with a lot of people. They identify more, black people, they identify more as American versus African because of their experience. Many of us have been completely disconnected from our culture, identity, language is being completely stripped from us. But it's up to us to come back and reconnect. Me, I'm African first. Black people in America for the past 400 years, you have to understand, we were just given civil rights, equal rights, so-called, on paper in the 60s. So we've never been truly considered American. So that's why we've always been treated as Africans who just happen to be in America. So that's why me personally, I'm African first. And I'm an African who just happens to be a displaced African who happens to be in America. So that's where it comes from.
So from what you just said, I will definitely define this that you are now planning or you are now deciding to be an African because of the kind of treatment you want or you are going through in America.
Well, no, since the first time I stepped foot in Africa in 2011, you know, and that's when I always identified more as an African when I actually came back home and experienced Africa. You know, I'm not going to say that I've been brutalized in America. I mean, I worked in corporate America, I made good money, but again, I just personally identify as African first because that's who I am. And that's what the ancestors have put into me and guided me to be, and that's what I am. So, and I'm here to reconnect back with my roots. Like I said, I'm Mende, I'm also Yoruba. So that's why I'm here. That's why I've taken such a great appreciation of Sierra Leone. I came for the first time to Sierra Leone about 3 weeks ago. Went back to America. It was like, I have to come back to this place. This is the land of my ancestors. This is my home. I was supposed to go to Burkina Faso. I said, no, I'm coming back to Sierra Leone. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful country with strong roots and ties to the black diaspora in America. So again, I'm not choosing to be African because of the brutality that black Americans go through every day. It's just I'm choosing to be African because that's who I am, but that's who we are. So I'm African first.
Okay, so you were just in Senegal a few weeks back.
Yes.
And you are here again.
Yes.
So what would have prompted you to come back again?
I fell in love with Sierra Leone. You know, I'm mad at myself because I've been going back and forth between America and Africa since 2011, and I'm upset that I didn't come here sooner. I mean, Sierra Leone is the Garden of Eden. It's an absolutely beautiful place. I know there are probably some issues here in Freetown, but me personally, out of everywhere I've been to in Africa, Sierra Leone, Freetown is the most beautiful place I've laid eyes on. You know, at first I was saying Zanzibar, Nigeria, but there's nothing like Freetown.
So now, before we start to go into everything about you in proper, the last time we were in Buenos Aires, you mentioned this particular word about Sierra Leone is a beautiful place.
Right.
And I relate these words to some certain people saying, I have someone who've been crying that Sierra Leone is like hell. People do define Sierra Leone as hell.
Okay.
And America's paradise.
Right.
So I relate this word to them and said, I had someone who said that Sierra Leone seems to be a beautiful place. And even to myself, I sat down and I said, what does this mean?
Right.
Yeah. But thank God you're here again. So I will take this time again to ask,
Yes.
what do you really mean by it? Now you define Sierra Leone to be the guide of
Yes.
in what kind of?
I would say.
Actually, it's not like the political way, but the
Okay.
geographical setting, I would say things going around. That's what I would just say.
I would say it's beauty alone. There's nothing that matches Freetown from what I've seen. Like I said, I've been to Zanzibar. I thought Zanzibar was the most beautiful place I've been to. I've been to Cape Town. I thought Cape Town was the most beautiful place I've been to. As far as aesthetics, serenity, landscape, there's nothing like Sierra Leone. There's nothing like Freetown. Again, there might be issues. There's issues everywhere. But I'm just saying from the surface level, from what I see, there's nothing like Freetown. And again, I've been to Cape Town. You know, Cape Town was named the #1 tourist destination in Africa. It should be Freetown. Me personally. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
People were friendly. It's just, Freetown's a beautiful place and people need to visit.
Okay, so when did you come? Oh, first, being in America, before moving away from America, have you ever thought about that there's countries beyond America where black people like you reside?
Say that one more time.
Have you ever been thinking or considering that you are black in skin?
Yes.
And you know few countries around beyond America where people are living with a skin color just like you?
Would I consider living in those other countries? Is that what you're saying?
Have you ever been thinking like there are countries beyond America where black people with skin like you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Right. You have Brazil, you have Colombia, you have Jamaica, you have Haiti, the first Black Republic. So there's a book. I forgot the name of the author. It's a children's book, and it's called "I See Your Face," or "Wherever I'm at, I See Your Face." So wherever I go, whether it be in the book, he's telling the story of him going to Brazil, him going to Nigeria, him coming to Sierra Leone, him going to the UK. We're there. Our faces are there. Like, I see your face. So we're all the same people. And we're part of this diaspora. So yeah, I mean, we're everywhere. There are black people all over this planet.
So when did you come to realize that you're actually a pure African and you have natives of African origin?
I would say, growing up, my mom, we used to read about Africa, we used to study about Africa, but Africa was just so foreign to me. My father, he used to come back and forth to Africa as well and share some of his stories, but again, I grew up in America, I grew up with an American experience. And it really hit me, I would say, I started to read books back when I was in college about Africa, learning more about the history. And as Black Americans, we always start off at Egypt. So we would study how black people built the pyramids. So I would start up there, but even though we would start in Egypt, if you're a black person, your closest ancestors are from West Africa. So I think the issue is we would start off with Egypt, call ourselves Egyptians or Kemetans, then we completely ignore and skip West Africa. So what happened in 2011, a friend of mine encouraged me to go to Tanzania. So I went to Tanzania, and I remember getting off the plane, and they're coming up to me and speaking Swahili, not knowing that I'm not Tanzania, I'm a Black American. They thought I was Tanzania. So they would speak Swahili to me, and I look at them like, I don't understand. And so they'll ask me, okay, so where are you from? Are you from South Africa? I said, no. Are you from Nigeria? I would say no. Are you Ghanaian? I would say no. Then I told them I was Black American. Like, they didn't know I was Black American, they thought I was African, which I am African, but then they asked me, what tribe are you from? And I was like, I don't know. They was like, what do you mean you don't know? What tribe are you from? I was like, I don't know, I'm Black American, so all of that was stripped from us. So then right then and there, me traveling throughout Africa, me being received as an African first, them not knowing that I'm from America, it made me dig deeper. Like, for example, I went to Namibia, country next to South Africa, and I go to a village, a Himba village, and so they're coming up to me speaking the local language, and my guide is telling me they think you're Himba. And they're upset that you're not speaking the local language. They think you just went off to America to school to be educated, and you became bougie and brand new, I would say, and you refuse to speak the language. You just want to speak English. You're just acting brand new. They want you to speak the language. And I could tell them, like, I'm not from here. So I realized that I was African when I went to Africa, and it was received as African, because we're taught in America that African, they have this propaganda. Africans don't like us, Africans won't receive us, Africans are against us. But when I come here, I'm received as an African. So that's when I knew, like, okay, I have to dig deeper. I have to really research my African roots because we're African. And then at the end of the day, like I said, Black people in America have been marginalized for 400 years, going on longer. So we've always been treated as Black first or African first, American second. So that right there, let me know that I'm African.
So when you come to realize that you are African, so what you explain for Tanzania and India, what next did you do? Because if people define you as an African, first you need to say, okay, you need to accept I'm an African.
Right. But
an African from which particular nation?
Exactly.
Is the next thing. So how do you go about all that?
Started traveling to different countries, going up and down West Africa, visiting, Then the DNA test, where you can do DNA tests to find out where you're from. So I did my DNA test. You know, Mende, Nigerian, Yoruba, and also part Balanta, Guinea-Bissau. So again, just DNA tests, traveling, you know, that helped me. I use those as tools and resources to connect back to who I am.
Here, for our listeners, who's especially in Sierra Leone, I do understand and believe that DNA test is just to do with the blood.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you come now to with all your travelings? Now you get yourself attached. Now realizing that you're from Nigeria, Sierra Leone. What do you mention again?
No.
How?
I would say actually coming in, getting involved, establishing myself here. That's why I'm coming back and forth now. You know, I just don't want to be a visitor. You know what I mean? I want to make this my home. So coming back, getting involved, really seeing how I can be of value to the people of Sierra Leone. You know, because you're right, the blood part is a start. But at the end of the day, it's like, what resources can you bring? What value can you add to the people? You know, what can you bring? What can you bring to the table? Because again, you know, me personally, the blood and the ceremonies is great, but what can you bring that could really be a benefit to Sierra Leone and its people? You know, because again, we talk about having been in America 400 years, learning the system. So how can you take that and bring it to Africa and help develop and build Africa? So you can truly have an African for the Africans. Because we complain all day about the Chinese and the Lebanese and the Indians, but then when it's time to really put your money where your mouth is, all of a sudden, you know, we can't get past this is where our answers come from in the spiritual aspect. But it's like, no, now it's time to, you know, get you know, we say it's called sweat equity. It's time to come in and help build and really develop and invest and put in that sweat equity once you find out where you're from. So Sierra Leone and Nigeria, that's where I'm planting myself in. I'm gonna put in that sweat equity.
Okay, well, we've heard from Dynast, and so we're gonna go for a short break. I want to come back, we'll continue the discussion. And don't forget to mention that he's coming here, he's been back now in Sierra Leone, and he's got a plan on what next he have to deliver for Sierra Leone as a citizen, or a citizen yet to become of this nation. So when we come back, we'll discuss that and more other related issues.
The views.
Corruption do so.
The Views comes up every weekday on the Freetown Television Network and at 12 p.m. Several pertinent issues could be discussed by professional heads, policymakers, plus the assessments of members of the public. Tune in every day, Monday to Friday, as we discuss politics, governance, business, and all other pressing issues. The Views.
Finally, the long wait is over. What you have been waiting for has finally arrived. When we arrive, we create the difference. Avoid the queue, avoid the delays. It's time to say goodbye to our habits. The answer to all your questions is here. Make your money live as long as you do. The only big bank with a campaign that could evolve and survive appears to be the Rokel Commercial Bank. Go for it. It's all worth it. With Rokel SIM Copper QR, your worries are over. Rokel Commercial Bank, the bank of choice.
Thirsty, me throat dry, I'm thirsty. Sierra, where they happy with the ginger. Sierra has a natural new flavor, and it's called ginger juice. It's so amazing, so refreshing. Sierra has a natural new flavor, and it's called ginger juice. Gonna give you stamina. Oh, what a feeling.
got the juice?
We got the juice.
Tell me who got the juice?
Sierra got the juice.
Hey, who got the juice?
Hey, we got the juice.
Tell me who got the juice?
Sierra got the juice. That ginger juice, that ginger. Give me that ginger juice, that ginger. That ginger juice, that ginger. I wanna be in the mood. Thirsty, thirsty. Me could dry, I'm thirsty. Sierra, really happy with the ginger. Sierra juice, the taste of Salome.
The views.
Corruption do so.
The Views comes up every weekday on the Freetown Television Network and at 12 p.m. Several pertinent issues could be discussed by professional heads, policymakers, plus the assessments of members of the public. Tune in every day, Monday to Friday, as we discuss politics, governance, business, and all other pressing issues. The Views.
Welcome back, people, at The Views live from the Freetown Television Network, channel 35, and also on the Freetown 19.5 FM, and also on our Facebook page, FTN News. And we still continue discussion, and I still have with me Dynast in the studio. Welcome again, Dynast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we go for that short break, I would say that was a lead. Yeah. What a plan you have now for your country. That would be a lead. So that's what we're going to start with now, because people might be curious to say, because I spoke with someone some weeks back after the visit to Idris Elba, and the person was bitterly arguing that, trust me, Idris Elba is not coming to Sierra Leone to gain or to reap from Sierra Leone, and because why all this while you're only coming now to Sierra Leone, why we not coming, and Idris Elba, for a wealthy man or well active after or that position for a very long time. Why this time around? So I believe few other people might be thinking again that maybe Dynast again is here and saying to come and read from saying, but you are doing the American statement saying what you can give back to say, and people might want to.
Well, I think as far as with Idris Elba and people like myself, we have a saying, you're always at the right place at the right time. It's just now is the right time. Me, I want to focus more on media and real estate. That's what I want to focus on. I think media is important because the images, when you think Sierra Leone, you think Civil War, the war's been over, you just had the Ebola. These are the images that we're getting of Sierra Leone in the West. Civil War, Ebola, and then you had the mudslide about a year ago. Those are the images we get. So we allow people who don't have our best interests at heart to control our images, and that's just being pushed out to the West. So I think controlling the narrative is the most important part. They say controlling the media is the most powerful weapon, because again, a lot of people are just sheep. Whatever they see on TV, that's what they believe. So they see Ebola, Civil War, mudslides, they're thinking Sierra Leone, oh, I'll never go to that place. But then you have Cape Town, even though black people just got freed in Cape Town for the most part in the late 1980s, early 1990s, people frolicking on the beach, sun, drinking wine, so that's why it attracts tourism. But for some reason, with Freetown, it's the opposite when you're dealing with the media. So we can't get mad at people who have historically never had our best interests at heart to put out those images. What we can do is what you're doing right now. Going out with your camera, what I do, what we all do, and showing people like, this is Sierra Leone. Come and visit. This is paradise. And come and enjoy it. And me, I've always had an interest in real estate. That's something my father did. So, acquiring land, dealing with hospitality as far as, possibly hotels, bed and breakfasts, businesses creating opportunities and jobs for people through that land. That's right now, that's what I'm focused on. But media, really, I think is important. It's something that we have to tackle, because if we don't control our images, we're still going to count on BBC, CNN, and all these other outlets, non-African outlets, who we know do not have our best interests at heart.
Okay, so with a double case, like we say in Nigeria, you've not mentioned about your family. That's deep. So when you have this case, people might want to know, it's either from the mother side or that of the father side. Where do you have the differences? Mother or father?
So as far as Mende, it's predominantly my mom. As far as the Nigerian, it's a mixture of both. So yeah, so that's how we begin to do DNA.
Okay. Now let's go back to the US.
Yes.
We have several black Americans.
Okay.
Like your skin and their makeup. Have you ever met with any one of them who say, I'm just black in skin, but I'm not black by origin?
Oh, I mean, you got people who are saying America is. We have a lot of confused black people in America. You have black people saying that they're not African, they're Aboriginal or native to America. You have black people saying that the slave trade is a hoax, like it never happened. You have black people saying the slave trade happened in reverse. So basically, we'll take for example the Mende, the masquerades, the traditions that it started in America, and that when they brought the slaves over to Africa, that's how it came about. You have black people saying that they're not African, they're Hebrews, they're Israelites, they're from Israel. So again, a lot of it has to do, a lot of this is taught in the prison system. I don't know, where this propaganda, a lot of it comes from the prison system in America. And then also too, a lot of people don't want to be connected to West Africa because of just the negative propaganda against West Africa. They want to be Egyptians. This is what's going on in America amongst a lot of black people. They're either Egyptians, or they think they're Hebrew Israelites, or they think they're Native Americans. You know, that's what's going on. So you have a lot of people who are black who don't identify as African. But as Peter Tosh said, if you're black, you're African. You know, you'll have a black American who show a picture of him, and he clearly looks African, then he'll put your picture next to it. Everybody look, we don't look the same. We're not African. But if I were to take you to America with me, no one would know that you're not a black American until you open your mouth and tell them. The same way that when I come here at home, no one knows that I am a black American until I open my mouth. It has always been the same.
So what have you been saying to them? Like for example, now I say no. Let me say I keep on saying I'm just black in skin and I know I'm not from Africa.
Right.
And then it's on. Have you been implying it, or what have you been? What have you been responding to them?
Well, they have a. It's to the point now. It's not worth the argument. It's really not. I've showed the videos. I've come to Africa. I've talked to the chiefs. We discussed the slave trade. All the evidence is there. You know, I've been to all the dungeons. In fact, in Alabama, the last slave ship that came from Dahomey, Ouidah Benin, the current day Benin Republic, the Clotilda. It was recently discovered in Mobile, Alabama. There's a place called Africa Town. One of the last slaves on that ship, his name was Kudrow Lewis. They're saying he's a Yoruba man who was captured in Dahomey, and was because the slave trade was banned at that time. So it was basically illegal cargo. It was brought to America. They found the ship. He's buried there in the cemetery. Everybody knows the story, but you have black people who will say that it's a hoax and that never really happened. So that you have everything is documented from as far as the name of the slave ships, you know, the routes, the amount of cargo they had on there, the slaves. Everything is well documented. But again, you have people who want to believe it's a hoax. So that's what's going on now in America. And it's a big movement. It's really laughable and embarrassing because people, you know, because of social media, you know, you can create your own platform, and no matter the nonsense you put out, you know, you can gain a following. So you have a lot of people who think that they're Native Americans who are black, and that all this is a hoax. As far as King Jimmy, Bunch Island, you know, I've been to just about every slave port in West Africa. You know, Badagry, Ouida, Elmina Castle, you have Gori Island. You know, to them it's all just a hoax, when everything is well documented. But
so, and you are living witness, you also an eyewitness, and you mentioned you visit most of these slave communities,
right.
And you can tell if I come to this particular room, I will tell that someone is currently living here, or someone have been living here, or someone is not even existing here.
Right.
You can tell by that if you come to each and every premise. And you've been to these different communities.
right.
And from all what you've seen there, so do you believe, or is there any evidence that you've seen there that, okay, the story about slave trade, slave this, that, are true, or they are big love stories?
They're true. It's true. I mean, the evidence is there. It's true. I mean, it's real. It's unfortunate. You know, it's sad, but it's reality. It happened. You know, I think a lot of it, these people who deny that the slave trade happened, you know, they want to be attached to America so bad because America's developed. You know, they want to be his Hebrew Israelites because they want to be attached to Israel so bad. America and Israel are two of the most powerful nations on earth, so they want to be attached to that. So that's why they're saying that. That's all it is. They don't want to. They can't think of living life outside of their master. You know, they just can't envision that. So they want to attach themselves to America and Israel. So they have to create this false narrative that the slave trade never happened. So I think one day Donald Trump is going to say, you know what, you black people, you are the Native Americans. Statue of Liberty, our powerful military, here, we're just going to give it to you, sorry, and we're going to go back to Europe. That's what they think. Then you have the black people think they're Hebrews or Israelis. They think the same thing. They think Israel is going to say, you know what, you guys are the real Hebrews, sorry, we're going to go back to Europe. And the infrastructure, the military, everything, we're just going to give it to you, we're sorry. This is what they've came up with in their minds. And it's silly.
So we've seen from different media platforms across the globe, we've seen over how black have been treated in this Western world. Right. Although you might not be a victim, but what have you seen from that? Are all this what we're listening or what we're watching on televisions? Are there true stories that black are really being neglected and are really being treated as if they are not native of this Western world?
Absolutely. It's all real. I mean, and it's going to continue to happen. In the words of Brother Khalid Muhammad, a black man's heaven is a white man's hell. So if Africa was to rise, I mean, think about it. Africa feeds the world, the planet. Without the slave labor, without the resources, I mean, you got to look at Europe before they came to the West and they engaged Africa. They were going through the Dark Ages. People were defecating in the street. Life expectancy was probably at the age of 30. There was filth everywhere, rats. You know, having salts, like table salt, is like having a Lamborghini in your car. What resources come out of Europe? I'm asking, what resources come out of Europe? I'm asking.
I could see the wise thinking or the smart thinking is one of the main resources coming out.
Where did they get the smart thinking from? They came to Egypt. Herodotus, all the Greek philosophers came to Egypt, and we educated them, and then they went back to Europe and said it was their own. There's no resource. Europe is a poor continent, so they had to come and exploit Africa and the Americas. So there's hidden hands and hidden forces that don't want to see Africa excel, because if we do, Europe will immediately go back to the Dark Ages overnight, and they know it. But then they want to, I mean, you're dealing with sociopaths. They'll tell us we're inferior. They'll say the black man is inferior, he didn't create anything. Then they'll steal our art, keep it in their museums, and they don't want to give it back. You know, if black people are so inferior, what's with all this, like in America, there were laws that they passed where black people were considered human. I think like 3/5 or 1/3 human. There are laws on the books where they marginalize this because of the color of our skin. You know, Haiti, the first black republic. They beat the French, they beat the English, they beat the Spanish. Napoleon said that he did not want to see the rise, he would never want to see the rise of a black nation. Again, a black man's heaven is a white man's heaven. And you know, people say, well, Dad, you sound very militant. Just look at history. They don't want to see us succeed, period.
And you've been moving to, I'll say, the African superpowers countries.
Right.
Like that's of Nigeria and that of South Africa. Okay, some also mentioned Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
And what you've mentioned, if the whites see African rising, there will be a build up. And are you seeing that? Is that possible for that to happen?
It can happen, but the issue with black people, the issue with Africans, we have a sellout culture. And it's been going on now for hundreds of years. You know, Patrice Lumumba, it wasn't a white man that pulled the trigger. It was a black man that pulled the trigger, that worked with the Europeans to take out Patrice Lumumba. Same thing with Thomas Sankara. In America, same thing with Fred Hampton. The CIA, the Europeans have always used us to go in and cause confusion and destroy and stop our progress. It's just the issue is we have a sellout culture. It's been going on since Portuguese showed up to these shores and Africans have taken them into the interior to get slaves. And for some reason, it continues. So once we get rid of the enemy within and the sellout culture, then Africa can really flourish.
I love that word sellout. And as someone who usually use this word, you're not sellout. Okay, in concluding this, what do you have now to say to blacks in Western world, or what do you have to say to people around the globe who do not believe about slavery, or who do not believe that black also have the right to live? What do you have to say?
I would say this, black people all over the planet, Africa is your birthright. You have just as much claim to this land as an African born on this soil. Come visit, it's your home, it's your birthright, come enjoy it. You're missing out. I'm telling you, you are missing out, you really are. Ghana had his year of return. Sierra Leone's gonna have his year of return. But let's not make it let's not reduce it to a year of return. You can return anytime you want to. So that's my challenge. You know, instead of going to visit Greece and France and all, you know, Thailand and all these other countries, you know, you go to Brazil, but you don't go to Bahia where the black people are. You go to Rio de Janeiro where you have institutional racism at. You complain about the racism in America, then you go to a racist place like Rio de Janeiro. My thing is come, enjoy Africa. Africa is the future. It's beautiful. Don't believe the images they show you on TV. You have people who are still using 1970 and 1980 stereotypes to justify not coming to Africa in 2020. Oh, Dynast the mosquito. I'm gonna get malaria and die. Oh, Dynast the Ebola. Oh, Dynast there's barefooted children with AK-47s running around in the streets. I heard it's not safe. You still have people who claim to be educated, claim to be by Western standards, who will look at old articles from the 80s and the 70s and use that to justify not coming to Africa in 2020.
Thank you very much, Dynast. As much as you would come in, and I hope you come and stay to say you.
I will. Guys, go to dynastamir.com. I plan on being back in Sierra Leone in March. Like I said, here in Nigeria, these are my homes.
Thank you for being part of this edition of The Views, coming to you live from the Freetown Television Network, Channel 35, and also on the Freetown 90.5 FM. And if you've also been watching us on our social media page, Facebook, FT News, thanks for being part of us. Drop your comments, any questions, or relating to what we've just discussed here, or you want answers from Dynast Amir, we can relate these of your questions to Dynast Amir, then we can send them back to you so you can get your feedbacks, or whatever you might might wish to know, or maybe you might wish for me to ask a particular question that I failed to ask on your behalf. So send your text message or send us a message or comment on our Facebook page. Then we will relate these questions and we could get back the answers you demand. Thank you for being part of the program. I've been News Jerabaliji. Bye-bye.
The views.
Corruption do so.
The Views comes up every weekday on the Freetown Television Network and at 12 p.m. Several pertinent issues could be discussed by professional heads, policymakers, plus the assessments of members of the public. Tune in every day, Monday to Friday, as we discuss politics, governance, business, and all other pressing issues. The Views. The Views.
Corruption do so.
The Views comes up every weekday on the Freetown Television Network and at 12 p.m. Several pertinent issues could be discussed by professional heads, policymakers, plus the assessments of members of the public. Tune in every day, Monday to Friday, as we discuss politics, governance, business, and all other pressing issues. The Views.